Burn Live, y'all. Burn Live, where we burn through conversation, trying to ash out some common sense. It's the Monday edition of the show. I appreciate everybody coming through, stopping through. Like, share, describe, do all them beautiful things when you stop through. I appreciate it. Like it says right here. I appreciate it. Like I said, y'all, today is Monday, marijuana day. Yes, sir. And with this day, we're going to get into some good marijuana stories. So, ladies and gentlemen, I love this phrase that I always use. You know what I'm saying? I'm representing the Burn Live and the marijuana cannabis every Monday, always on Mondays, go down and do the news coverage and do the story. Without a further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I got some good stories. I got some very good stories. I got some weird stories. Got some things to get into. Without a further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. First story that we're going to cover. Yeah, this is marijuana news cover coming from Portland. When I seen it, I just couldn't believe that I just couldn't believe it. Shocking. So without a further ado, I had to definitely let us know, because yet again, y'all, so it's gonna be a marijuana story that is covered that's gonna shock the mess out of me. That's why we cover these stories.
Say he tried to fly from Portland to Chicago with 2 bags full of marijuana. Fox 12's Michaela Armstrong spoke to travelers at PDX about what the suspect reportedly said he was trying to do.
It's not every day that you hear of someone trying to fly with marijuana, better yet, 50 pounds of it. And the flyers we spoke to put it bluntly, they couldn't be more surprised that someone tried to pull this off. A flyer giving Sky High a new meaning. Accused of attempting to fly from Portland to Chicago with 50 pounds of marijuana. A plan that could only be described by some flying with one word.
Brave. I don't even know how people be thinking about the stuff they be doing. I don't know. But they brave. I was a brave one.
According to court documents, police seized the marijuana on Sunday, May 3rd. After a report in the TSA check bag area that 20 bags of marijuana were found during screening. Another suitcase with marijuana belonging to the same flyer was also found. And both suitcases together weighed 50 pounds.
That was just super unheard of. And also I just don't understand why a person had that kind of audacity to attempt something like that. It's just really dumb.
Court documents show the high maintenance luggage was heading on a United Airlines flight from Portland to Chicago and was checked by 21-year-old Elijah Davis. Davis was arrested and allegedly told officers he was trying to make more money and didn't know he could travel with the marijuana to later sell. Court documents show he also told officers that no one else was involved in making him bring the marijuana to Chicago.
Sounds like that 21-year-old hasn't hit puberty yet. They probably know. It's a lesson to be learned for him. I don't know. Dang, that's bad.
Davis now faces charges of illegal import or export of marijuana items, unlawful delivery of a marijuana item, and unlawful possession. And flyers tell Fox 12 this could have all been avoided with a little more thought.
Or he or she should at least search online or do some background check or do some research before attempting this.
I think he's going to have a lot of time to think about it. I think he is. I don't know. I do not know his plan with that one. I don't get it. Brave.
Davis was released on his own recognizance and is due back in court on June 1st. At PDX, Michaela Armstrong, Fox 12 Oregon.
Ladies and gentlemen, this story right here, when I heard about it, I just I don't know. We all in America wants to make money. We want to find loopholes and everything like that. But this one right here, really takes the cake of all cakes. You know what I'm saying? 50 pounds of marijuana. And then the luggage actually weighed 50 pounds. If we watching the TV Weeds or we watching Breaking Bad, it kind of makes you want to think about some of these stories. What are we literally covering and watching over here to make us want to go out here and do some of these? Definitely got to pay attention and read the signs. I know some people out there travel with weed because they don't like weed to go to states. They don't like going to states without weed because you just don't know what you get. I get it. But in this case right here, this was not thought out at all. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I'm a stay in Water. I just want to cover this real quick because this is something I didn't
Doing
see
well.
covered.
Next case is State of Florida versus Bill Capri, 2026 CF 6084.
Bradford Cohen on behalf of Bill Capri, Judge.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. If you can just tell me your name and your date of birth.
Bill Capri, sir.
All right. Date of birth.
June 11, 1997.
All right. Thank you. All right, Mr. Capri, you are here for your initial appearance. You were arrested pursuant to an arrest warrant, so probable cause was previously determined by Judge Murphy. We are here for purposes of today for determining your bond and as well as conditions of bond. Before we do that, is there anything that the defense wishes to add?
I do, Judge. I just want to point out a couple things with the arrest and the affidavit for arrest. I know that PCOs are to be found.
Yes, sir.
Generally speaking, I always like to make the court aware of the strength or weakness of the case because I think that goes towards the bond. In this case, Judge, this happened in November. Oh, before I get to that, we also self-surrendered for the court's edification. We self-surrendered. He was in California. I had him fly back specifically for this case. I was notified by the U.S. Marshal Service and given the opportunity to surrender him. U.S. Marshal Service was beyond professional in this case, just for the record. But if you read the affidavit that is attached to the warrant, Judge, essentially what happened here was there was two vehicles.
Yes, sir.
Neither of the vehicles are registered to Mr. Capri personally. An officer approaches the vehicles. One vehicle, he says, smells like marijuana. He searches that vehicle, finds something in that vehicle that is unrelated to Mr. Capri. The second vehicle, and he doesn't even see Mr. Capri on the scene at this point. The second vehicle, they then inspect. There's one person in that vehicle. There's two bags next to that person, both in the passenger side of the vehicle. One bag has drugs in it and some other items. The other bag has what he initially says, and he doesn't put this in his affidavit, he initially says that he tests it, and it tests as 27 grams of cocaine, which is just under the trafficking amount of 28 grams. When he then sends it in, allegedly, it becomes MDMA. So I also have his original report that says when he originally tested it, it tested as cocaine. Inside that bag, there's some items that he says belong to Mr. Capri, an identification and some paperwork. He then sends things off to get printed. None of the things in that bag come back to Mr. Capri as his fingerprints. I think there were several latent prints taken off. None of them match Mr. Capri. At that point, then Mr. Capri approaches the officer and is now on the scene, was not in the vehicle, and doesn't make any admission that the bag is his or anything like that. The officer then goes one step further and goes on Mr. Capri's Instagram, and on one picture in his Instagram, there's a picture of him standing next to a bag that looks like the bag that was in the car. Now, I know PC was already found, so I'm not going to argue.
You can't make this up of him trying to justify what the officer found in the car compared to a picture and trying to say this man were trafficking, because that's what they're trying to get him with.
PC, but it's really screaming at me, but I won't argue it. But I mean, the case law on this is so very clear. And I use two very, very, I think, esteemed cases. One of them is Edmond v. State, and the other one is McCrae v. State. And I'll just give you a very brief on it.
Right. So let me ask you this before we get into the case.
Yes.
One, has a copy been given to the state?
I'll give her a copy. I'm sorry.
Because certainly last thing we want to do is have a hearing by ambush.
I use these
This is why I don't go to Florida or no vacation, don't take no trips, no marijuana trip to Florida. This is the main reason why right here. I'm not doing it. It's just, it's too sketchy. You know what I mean? It's too sketchy.
a lot of the construction possession cases. So the Edmond case is kind of an amazing case. The police raid a house on a warrant. The guy's hiding in the closet with wet cocaine next to him in a hole that his head is within 1 foot of the hole.
Kodak. Hey. People keep wanting another thing. Trump quit letting these people out of jail because look what they doing. Dumbasses.
On the stove is cooking cocaine. Next to the stove is his ID and some paperwork. In a bedroom in the house is more paperwork that belongs to him. The court found that's still not enough for constructive possession. It's kind of an amazing case, and I'll give you the exact site for it, but it's Edmond v. State, and the state has a copy of it. The other one is McRae. In McRae, they're pulling a guy over. They pull him over, he jumps out of the car and makes a run for it. As he's running, the officer sees that he's playing with his waistband and makes a throwing motion. He puts him down on the ground, arrests him, and tells the other cop, hey, go back and see what he threw. They find a baggie of cocaine, no fingerprints on it. They print it, no fingerprints on it. And the court says that's not enough for constructive possession. Those cases are so much closer to constructive possession than this case. And I would just ask the court, in considering a bond, to look at the case, to look at the affidavit that's with the case. And I understand that the typical bond on this is $50,000. I'm asking for a $10,000 bond. I on my way here on the train, I was typing up a motion to dismiss. It's just there is not enough here. I get
Right,
it.
and I'll stop you there. I mean, obviously, you know that the motion to dismiss
I know.
is for another day.
I
We're
know,
here
Judge.
for the sole purpose of
Yes, Judge.
determining bond and conditions of bond. Your
I do.
client,
And I appreciate, Judge. And I don't know if he
I've
wants-
got the sites for you, Your Honor.
Oh.
Edmond versus State is 963, Southern Second 344. It's 2007 case, 4th DCA. And the McRae versus State is
Boy.
4th DCA case out of
Bad
2000.
luck. Bad luck. Look. Stop.
Give me a case over there. Again,
This is ridiculous. Period. This is ridiculous. This is just yet again, we just can't keep letting people out of jail for whatever reason. Kodak Black Kodak.
Man was arrested this week after
Yet again, y'all, this is what I talk about when it comes to just certain cases in this marijuana field that's going to be pointed to the marijuana heads. That's not going to make us look good. Things that are going to disrupt what the movement of marijuana is trying to do. We're trying to medicate and better people's lives, and yet again, we're getting hit with this. I just want to make sure this is the. All right, y'all. In other news,
Thumb Industries and
in other marijuana news, I want to get back to the marijuana because that case was getting a little bit sized the marijuana, so I want to stick to it. Let's get back into it, y'all.
a class action lawsuit filed Monday against 3 Chicago-based cannabis companies. It alleges the sellers marketed marijuana products under false claims about its medical benefits. Kevin Sabat is CEO of Smart Approaches to Marijuana, also author of One Nation Under the Influence, and boy, are we ever. Here's a quote from the Free Press about the defendant's point of view in this case. Cresco Labs, Green Thumb Industries, and Verano Holdings see things differently. In various statements, the companies have emphasized the benefits of cannabis for wellness and well-being. What should we know about this case?
Hey, thanks for having me. Well, this is basically about the public's right to know. These are plaintiffs that were, harmed by the marijuana industry's constant advertising and promotion, and saying that their products are safe, that they actually are good for multiple illnesses. When there's no FDA approved, claims that you can make on this. And by the way, this is for recreational, although I don't like that term because drug use is not a recreational sport, but this is not for even stuff that's sold in medical dispensaries. It's for those that are in the so-called.
I agree with that statement. Even though, recreational only in this term only means for just people without American marijuana license. But yet again, these small little implications, just like people fighting against Tylenol, Pepto-Bismol, or any of these cases are going to be adding up until we get a control, a handle. We, the people, meaning we're going to have to vote on better solutions to our problems, our so-called problems. Okay. We want marijuana good. We want it to be studied in a better light. I understand, and I'm with that. But to do that, in order to do that, we got to figure out which is best for us as people for us to regulate it. Do you want to federal regulate it, or do you want to state-wise regulate it where you can know and get the information? Federal, it seems like it's more secretive and top secret. They don't tell us everything. I don't think we like that. I keep hearing this over and over and over and over that we don't like it. Okay. So let's stop doing stuff we don't like.
Recreational stores, and they've made so many claims that are completely weak, totally non-existent, really. And so this is really a consumer protection case, and we're very happy that the top plaintiffs firms in the country have taken this on. It's the tip of the iceberg. We're going to see a lot more.
Okay, so we might be. Here's a map of where legal recreational marijuana use is allowed. Okay, so you can see that all there. Of course, my home state, Colorado, right there. But where I was born, Wyoming, holding strong, saying no. The Pew poll on legal marijuana in the U.S. from 2025, the percent of adults who say marijuana should be legal for medical and recreational use is 54%. Legal for medical use, only 33%. Not legal, 12%.
The 54%, and I'm not stating the true factual reason why, but the majority of the reason why that high is because of the simple fact you can grow it in your home. You can also get it on the street, and you can get it from a dispensary. It's just opening up the market way too open for people to regulate it. And if you can't regulate it, you can't get a positive results out of what you want out of marijuana. Now, y'all probably think I'm crazy for saying that. I get it. I understand. But yet again, look at the results, look at the news coverage. And I think this is yet again another one of these reasons why I want to cover this so much and get into depth of why these stories are where they are. And we need to do something about it. We need to find a way. And regulations like, look, we want to stay, we're going to do it the right way. Do I think we should get rid of recreational? A little bit, yes. I'm going to wait till more stories to pile up, do more research, and to show y'all these are the evidence why, not to just tell you why and then have nothing to back it up. I will slowly show you the reasons why I believe this, okay?
But those numbers, do you think they're going up or down based on some evidence over the years?
They've actually been going down recently. There was a huge spike about 10 years ago, of course, of Americans, falling into this trap. But we've had 7 out of the last 10 states vote against marijuana legalization. We have states considering repeal. I mean, Massachusetts, not exactly a very red state, is going to probably vote on the repeal of the sales part of it. We have to separate. No one's saying we should be putting people in prison, adults, for smoking a joint. But today's marijuana that's being marketed and commercialized is up to 99% THC. It's causing psychosis, which few other drugs do, schizophrenia, which is impossible to come back from, frankly, heart attacks, all these problems because the potency, we've just made it so much stronger, and they're able to do what any other FDA approved drug cannot do. They're running wild, and it's time to we rein them in.
Okay, I also want to ask you about this because the Trump administration has reclassified marijuana, medical marijuana, from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2. Okay. And so this is what the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said. These actions will enable more targeted, rigorous research into marijuana's safety and efficacy, expanding patients' access to treatments and empowering doctors to make better informed healthcare decisions. I imagine that there are just a lot of people who are knocking at the door of the federal government saying, it helped me or it helped my patients, please change this. So what's the trajectory that this is on? I know that the Biden administration thought about doing it. Trump was going to do it in the first term, but now it's finally happened.
Yeah, well, they're trying to make it Schedule 3, which what that does, it would allow tax breaks for the industry. So I got to be honest, Dana, and I'm not. This is not a partisan issue for me at all. But the people knocking on the door that want this are the investors. They're the companies. They want the tax breaks.
Yeah.
There's tens of thousands of articles on researching marijuana, and of course we should research it more. But we do research Schedule 1 drugs. We research heroin. We research LSD. It's not about research. And if it was about research, we'd have funding. It's not about funding. It's not about research. It is about tax breaks for the industry. This industry.
Tax break. Now, I know most of y'all heard that and probably would think tax breaks for the rich, capiche? Tax breaks for the rich. But yet again, a lot of people are in this industry. So tax breaks meaning more investments, more research. And what they mean tax break, more research is if I get the tax break for investing into marijuana, to something I believe in, I can invest more money into it. I can invest the research and the propositions to go into the right direction. But yes, that does open up a gateway for people to illegally move the same product through the same doors in the same pattern. Now, tax breaks, as he trying to spread it, that's for the rich and the wealthy and these mainstream dispensaries, people that can't go to main banks, that open up banks, give them a lane to start working with people in this marijuana industry and be like, okay, it builds a bond, a cross bond between two industry who figures they have no interest with each other.
That is now alleged in this lawsuit, and I believe is lying to the American people. And I think there will be a day of reckoning for them.
We will pay attention to it. Big Green is certainly spending a lot to make it try to happen. Thank you so much, Kevin. Great to see you.
Thanks, Dana. You too.
Be sure to like.
See, that slippery slope of understanding what I need for as enhanced drugs and how to pursue it and what is it going to be used for is going to be different in each state. Each state is going to find a way to grow the marijuana, to grow their state. And what is taxed for and what is used for, a lot of that stuff is not being seen on paper in black and white as I can pull it up. And that's another thing that needs to be a little bit easier access so we can learn too. Yet again, y'all, it's going to be one of these slippery slopes. I'm in it for the ride. I'm in it for the thrill. But yet again, this is also another law. This is a big one that I am definitely intrigued in with this marijuana news. So I was going down right here first on the Burn Live Monday Marijuana Show.
Our I-Team is looking into a synthetic opioid said to be 13 times stronger than morphine.
A ban on the drug is set to expire next month after state lawmakers failed to make the ban permanent. 7-OH exists in trace amounts in a plant known as kratom. That derivative has a high potential for addiction and abuse. And once the ban expires, it will again be accessible at gas stations and smoke shops.
Investigative reporter Kylie McGivern is following through tonight after first reporting 7 years ago on the products labeled as kratom. And tonight, Kylie is introducing us to a survivor who shares a warning he says he never got.
This is the chair that I sat in the day I took the kratom product.
Wes Griggs took that seat at Soft Roast Recovery in Tampa, an addiction treatment program.
The facilitator came back. I was unconscious.
Griggs' story starts back in 2019. He was shot in the back, then hospitalized in 2 car crashes.
The opioids that were prescribed, I didn't want to do them forever. You go into a gas station and you see, something right there that's all natural supplement, plant-based. I felt relief. This is quite something that, I just bought this at a gas station and it works better than a prescription.
Griggs was taking what he later learned was 7-OH, a synthetic opioid, potent and powerful, that exists only in trace amounts naturally in the kratom plant.
And I spoke with the gas station clerk And I said, I thought they banned this. He said, oh, this is the new Florida compliant.
In August, Florida's Attorney General filed an emergency rule,
We see immediate danger.
making it illegal to sell, possess, or distribute 7-OH in the state.
If you know anybody on 7OH in your city, please report. Obviously, this is something dangerous, something that shouldn't be on shelves, already been taken off once. I'm bringing it up because, yet again, awareness of all types of drugs that is out here, I think I should cover on this channel.
It is a significant painkiller. It has been proven to be highly addictive and easily can be overdosed.
The Commissioner of Food and Drugs joined the AG at Tampa General Hospital supporting the move.
Our focus is not on the kratom leaf. There is synthetic concentrated kratom, which is popping up in vape stores all over America, and we need to know what's going on.
Experts tell me, think of it like alcohol. 7-OH in kratom is like alcohol in a non-alcoholic beer. There are trace amounts, but the percentage differs when it comes to a seltzer versus craft beer, wine, or bourbon. It's all alcohol, but the concentration of the intoxicant is different. That's the issue with products labeled as kratom. Unlike federal regulations that show this with alcohol, there's nothing identifying the potency of the product. As for 7-OH,
it is an opioid, and yet you can go in a vape shop in America almost on any corner and buy it like a cup of coffee.
Griggs did. March 10th, he took a tablet he thought was safe after Florida's emergency rule and got back in his car.
I walked into treatment, and next thing you know, I fall asleep.
It took 2 doses of Narcan to revive him.
I woke up with paramedics surrounding me and in complete fear.
We looked at the Centers for Disease Control records and found a 10-year analysis showing a 1,200% increase in kratom-related exposure reports, hitting a record high in 2025. Dr. Chris McCurdy, a researcher at the University of Florida, has spent more than 2 decades studying kratom, and he says the surge coincides with the influx of synthetics. What's in the box? I first met with Dr. McCurdy 7 years ago as he was testing kratom products.
This is just completely.
Realizing y'all, pharmaceutical drug places are still dangerous. We still have to watch out for these companies that are still out here lurking in the cuts. And with that, I am going to take a quick commercial break. Won't be right.
Conversation blazing.
And we're here to light it up 5 nights a week.
And we are back talking about Cranium, Krypton. I'm sorry, we're talking about Krypton, a drug that was once taken off the shelf, just put back on the shelf, that needs to be looked at. Cases are still showing that it's bad. Law has actually taken it to the mean to where it's able to get put back on the shelf. We are covering a story that broke out in Florida a couple of days ago, and we're finishing it up, the story, and we're going to continue. Here we go.
Full of one product.
What are some of the things that you're seeing?
Hydrocodone, and we have seen morphine.
But they want to be a part of this.
Nick Badlow, a combat veteran, founded Soft Recovery,
We've seen about a 400% increase in clients testing positive for kratom.
where Griggs was in group when he overdosed.
That shouldn't happen with something that you buy at the gas station. We got past Oxycontin. We're starting to see fentanyl deaths go down again. And if we don't do something about it, this could very well end up being the next drug crisis.
I never in a million years thought that that would happen to me. And that's just the danger behind it.
As concerns have risen, so has pushback against the ban of 7-OH, including a complaint filed by a Florida-based company and 6 users against the emergency rule that a judge later dismissed. Now, right now, if no further action is taken, the ban is set to expire at the end of June. Journalist Randy Wright, I'm I-Team reporter Kylie McGivern, Tampa Bay 28.
Our right team is looking into
Crazy.
10 times stronger than morphine.
A ban on the drug is set to expire next month after state lawmakers.
That's crazy, y'all. We got to do. I want to say that, man, we got to stop looking for drugs to be our solution to our pains and stuff like that. I want to say that's so bad, but I know that's not easy. I know nobody's going to hear me and be like, well, you're saying it because, and I get it. I'm saying it because I don't pop pills and it's easy. But yet again, it's such a high risk with y'all. Us taking it. Y'all, us, however we want to look at it, it's a high risk. Is the risk worth the reward? That's the good question. Is the risk worth the reward? Huh? Really finna sit up here and say that, hey, I'm trying to better myself. I'm doing good. I had this pain. I've been in something. And understand that guy's story is very sad, going through what he had to go through. I don't wish that upon nobody. But yet again, these stories that I'm bringing you up are definitely stories that need to be covered deeply, spread at the news. And hopefully one day, you know what I'm saying, we can really look for other cures. And pharmaceuticals, I know $1 billion industry, they might have to stop. We might want to think about banning things like pharmaceutical places. Okay? Now, I got another one in Philadelphia. It's going down. Let's get into it.
They are seeing quite a surge of patients with severely upset stomachs.
Health reporter Stephanie Saul is here with more on this very concerning trend.
It really is, guys. You know, doctors say this does not appear to be related to contaminated marijuana, and they're not sure exactly what's causing the syndrome or why it only strikes certain people.
Was the vomiting, the uncontrollable nausea. The only thing that makes you feel better is a bath or warm water. And I was like, wow, I'm like really sad that I never heard of this before.
37-year-old Taylor Armendez describing a bout with a mystery illness that sent her to the hospital twice.
It's just unbearable.
She was finally diagnosed with something called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, known as CHS, that's linked to marijuana use.
I Googled it immediately when I got home, and it was like exactly what I was going through.
Emergency departments around the region are reporting a surge in cases of CHS.
I think now with legalization in many states, there's more access to it.
Dr. Alan Schubert with Virtua Health says the increase in cases is happening mainly in states where cannabis was legalized both medically and recreationally, which includes New Jersey and Delaware. How do we know that the symptoms are coming from marijuana use rather than just a stomach virus?
The abdominal symptoms seem to be stronger or more intense than you would see with someone who's got, kind of the stomach flu, so to speak.
Dr. Schubert says it's not clear how or why the cannabis causes the stomach upset and only strikes some users. It's usually diagnosed among heavy pot users, but it can also happen to occasional users.
We see it with, all kinds of marijuana, and no matter, what the agent is, whether it's inhaled or whether it's gummy.
He says the fact that hot showers and baths are helpful is another symptom doctors look for. Taylor, who lives in South Jersey, says when she stopped her daily habit of smoking pot, the syndrome went away. Now, health experts think some of the cannabis products from dispensaries might have higher THC levels, which might be causing these upset stomachs. Fortunately, it can be treated with anti-nausea medication. People can get rehydrated, but to watch out for it.
Still have to be careful, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you so much.
Make you just want to drink some water right there. Just stay hydrated, especially if you're in a hot desert and you smoke a lot. You know what I'm saying? You're drying out your pores and stuff like that. Stay dehydrated. I don't think just that case right there. I think it's all cases and stuff like that. I have noticed sometimes, you're smoking real good, you're chilling, you forget to drink or something. You act like you're not thirsty or you don't feel like reaching over. Signs of, you just being pure lazy. There's none of that marijuana syndrome. Just you being lazy. Get up, get you some water. Put some in your damn system before you damn near pass out on the ground some damn where. Let's not do it. Okay? We're not gonna act like a little child and stuff. Like we just learned how to smoke weed for the very first time. Okay, we're not doing it. What is
For the first time, the FDA has authorized fruit-flavored e-cigarettes intended for adult smokers. It's a major policy shift that has some health groups and parent organizations worried it could drive more underage vaping. Joining us now is CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder. She's also the editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News. Dr. Gounder, thank you so much for being with us. Can you walk us through this policy shift and the timing of it? Why has the FDA decided to authorize this use now, and what's the difference between authorization and approval?
The FDA in the past had rejected over 1 million flavored vaping products, and teen vaping had in fact hit an all-time 10-year low. In February, the FDA's own staff, chief staff, said that they needed more time, but that then the Wall Street Journal reported over the weekend that Trump had scolded him for moving on this too slowly. I do think it's important to qualify authorized, as you were asking, does not mean
approved, it means that the FDA decided that this could help some adult smokers switch from regular cigarettes to vaping, and that the age restriction would be enough to keep children away from these products. But it doesn't mean that these are safe. Dr. Gander, health groups and parent organizations have long pointed to flavored cigarettes as a gateway to tobacco cigarettes for younger users. How are vaping companies pushing back on all of this?
So teens who vape are about 3 times as likely to progress to smoking regular cigarettes as other teens. The industry says, well, these kids would have smoked anyway, but there's no way to prove that. And they argue that vaping helps adults quit. But most young vapers have never smoked cigarettes to begin with.
So what are the guardrails here? Is the FDA going to use more restrictions? And
so we're trying to say that later on down the, boy, I wish that is true. A lot of people just say they're going to stop smoking weed because they vape. And that's what's up. I hope that does grow. I hope that number does grow. That's a wonderful, beautiful thing to see. Cigarette industry would die off. You know, a lot more healthier bodies. You know, people living longer. Not worrying about somebody dying the next day or tomorrow or last week because you ain't heard from them. Stuff like that. And I'm just keeping it real. Y'all don't look at me like, dang, that was hard. I'm just saying. Some of y'all know parents and y'all be like, dang, I ain't heard from them in a while.
And limit the availability of these products to young users?
So this particular device requires a government ID scan and it pairs with a phone. So, and then furthermore, ads are meant to be targeting adults 21 and over. But we haven't really seen this tested in wide use, so don't know how well that system will actually work. The tobacco industry has made campaign donations to the Trump campaigns, and they gave money towards building the White House's ballroom. The head of the FDA's tobacco office was fired.
Not taxpayers' money, private donors.
By this current administration. A former tobacco executive is now in a senior role at the CDC, and most of the CDC's smoking prevention staff have been cut.
I want to make sure we get to this, because what are the major health risks associated with vaping, especially underage vaping?
So vaping can cause harm to the lungs and to the heart. It can raise your risk of asthma, chronic lung disease, blood pressure can go up, increase your risk of heart attack or stroke. Nicotine is addictive, whether it's through a cigarette or through vaping, and teen brains, we know, are more prone to addiction. Longer term risks, like whether vaping is associated with cancer, we just don't have that data yet.
Dr. Celine Gounder, thank you so much.
New at 5, a new drug is showing.
Slippery slope when it comes to young kids and trying to get them not to smoke. Develop your body, get older. If you want to do it when you get older, your body develop, do what you want to do. But when you use a kid, we all think parents just talking out the side of their neck. They don't know what they're talking about and stuff like that. We always want to think that kids and kids on kids, when you start thinking, when you start doing, and they start being better
from the
and doing right. I got another story, and we out of sight.
Station that's working for you. This is Fox 4 News at 5 p.m.
The cartel is able to sort of suppress the pricing to a point where ultimately it's not going to be economical for these businesses to stay in existence.
A lawsuit against Missouri's largest marijuana dispensary accuses it of being a cartel. The lawsuit claims Good Day Farm is exploiting Missouri cannabis users. I'm John Holt.
I'm Bria Love. This court filing sending smoke signals to others. Play by the rules or we'll come for you too. Fox 4's Malik Jackson joining us live tonight with an interview you'll see only on Fox 4. The attorney for the plaintiff is on the record making their case. Malik?
That's exactly what he's doing, Bria. At the core of this issue is simple. When Missouri's Missourians, passed this constitutional amendment, they essentially put in place a way so that one entity cannot control too much of the cannabis space. Well, this lawsuit claims that's exactly what Good Day Farm is doing.
What you'll see is that there are going to be lots of companies like wholesalers and producers and cultivators that will be going out of business.
A major lawsuit argues that Good Day Farm is illegally snuffing out everyone else's profits. The lawsuit says the plaintiffs and other unaffiliated businesses have no way to combat Good Day Farm's anti-competitive conduct. Missouri law prohibits cultivators and processors from selling cannabis directly to consumers, which means they can only sell their products to the retail dispensaries licensed by Missouri's Department of Health and Senior Services. Therefore, the others, according to the lawsuit, have no alternative but to submit to the alleged cartel's unlawful pricing and allocation demands or be shut out of a significant portion of the market. All in all, they say Good Day Farm, according to the lawsuit, has created a monopoly.
They've created these, what we call them the complaint or the petition, these LLCs, to sort of hide the real nature of the ownership of these entities. But in reality, Good Day Farm is controlling all of the decisions with respect to purchasing and procurement and what products go into the stores.
The accusations go further, even saying that Good Day Farm no longer is buying from Missouri-based companies in a substantial way, killing the weed business in the Show Me State. Now, Fox 4, starting yesterday, has emailed multiple email addresses associated with Good Day Farm. We've also called multiple people, including the headquarters and the person who is said to be running this operating portfolio, and we have not heard back. This lawsuit is vast and expansive. So for more details, you can click on this story at fox4kc.com. Here
I wonder if Good Day is in St. Louis, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri. Because when you become, Kansas City, Missouri is a big area, and they got a lot of good districts out there. Lee Summit, Independence, Blue Springs, the city area, and stuff like that, on over to the Wyandotte area. So to lose, not get an opportunity to get started, you saved a lot of money, you shook the right hands, you got the lawyers, and another industry that's already there is pushing you away and building, taking away spots and land and whatever else things, the small details to the big details out the way. That's not cool. And that's what a lot of people was afraid of. That's what I was afraid of. And that's another reason why when you have companies that do stuff like that, people are going to turn to recreational, and they're going to want to sell what they want to sell, and they're going to do what they want to do. You know what I mean? They're going to take and be like, hey, I tried to do it the right way. It was hard. Y'all let this one industry come in and take all the business. That wasn't fair. So therefore, I found my out. And this is my out. And that's going to be the problem that you're going to see every day, all day, is when everyday people that's trying to do the right thing get into this industry, don't get in, and they're going to go to recreational and find they out. Like the guy earlier, they just trying to go across states with 50 pounds on a plane. Okay? Like, we're going to have to get it together. Okay? We're going to have to. Because without us trying to get it together, I'm going to be over here lost, shaking my head. And then, yet again, drugs are going to get taken off the streets. And people are going to get mad and be all upset and be like, hey, we told you. We told you. You can't just keep letting these people do these certain cases every day, all day. It's making it harder for everyday citizens to move up. I keep saying it. Okay. I'm going to look further into the DOJ.
The Department of Justice
on marijuana law.
Justice formally rescheduled medical marijuana, classifying it as a less dangerous drug. And this evening, we take a look at the move and what it means for the industry going forward.
It's an honor to do this.
The Trump administration recently moved to reclassify state-licensed medical marijuana as a less dangerous drug. The change moves it from the highest schedule, Schedule 1, down to Schedule 3, which includes substances like ketamine, steroids, and Tylenol with codeine. Industry leaders like Meredith Buettner with the PA Cannabis Coalition say the order is an important first step in recognizing marijuana's medical use, as well as breaking the stigma around the drug.
Rescheduling is the most significant movement from the federal government related to cannabis regulation since they made cannabis illegal.
The change will allow for more studies into marijuana's clinical use, which Buettner hopes will lead to more federal support for research.
There's a lot of research really on the brink of breakthroughs that really could help us move the industry forward, move patient safety forward, move public health and safety forward.
The rescheduling comes as part of a years-long process started by the Biden administration to change cannabis regulations. It comes after a December directive from President Trump to the Justice Department to reclassify the drug. The president voiced his support for its medical use when signing the order.
The facts compel the federal government to recognize that marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered. In some cases, this may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers.
The schedule change will also allow licensed medical cannabis operators to deduct business expenses on their federal taxes, but does not impact traditional access to banks for businesses in need of funding. Bills introduced in Washington and Harrisburg aim to create more financial options for new cannabis companies. However, Buettner says more federal action is likely needed before restrictions can fully be lifted.
We really need a complete descheduling of cannabis for cannabis to be treated just.
Slippery slope, getting the wrong people into the industry. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Anytime that you're watching this, I appreciate you tuning in to the Burn Live show. On Mondays, we take care of your marijuana news. Until next time, have a good day.